So section 2. Simplifying, that means taking multiple numbers and combining them into smaller ones. And evaluating, that means plugging numbers in for variables, expressions and formulas. So to simplify, it says replace an expression with its simplest form. And then there's some other definitions there. Numbers are variables written with exponents have two parts. They have the base, which is the bottom part, and they have the exponent, which is the top part. Okay? The exponent is typically written smaller than the base. So just as a reminder there. And we're going to say it's either the exponent or raised to the power or power of 2, power of 3, power of 4, something like that. So let's take these three expressions and put them in words. Give me some ideas here for this first one. Aiden.
X to the power of 2.
X to the power of 2. Good option. Anybody else? Different way. Ty.
Squared.
Okay. X squared. Probably if we were playing, what's that game where the things blink down? Is that Family Feud? That would probably be like the number one answer. X squared. Typically, that it flips down, ding, and then they go, and they get it wrong. All right, anyone else think of a different way to say that expression? I can't say it because I'm saying it. Jocelyn. X to the second power. Excellent. X to the second power. All right. Anybody think of any way else, Sarah?
X times X.
That's what it means, but that's not what it says. But is she correct? Doesn't it mean X times X? Because that's truly what X squared means, and I'm using the number one tie answer here. That's truly what X squared means. It does mean X times X, so good call. All right, next one. Different people. All right, Emily. X cubed. Probably the number one answer. X cubed. Somebody else. Jade.
X raised to the power of 3.
X raised to the power of 3. Is that kind of like X to the third power? All right. Any others? Have we covered them all? All right, next one. We had X squared, we had X cubed. Is there an equivalent? X fourth? No, it's like really awkward. It's like when I try to shoot layups left-handed, it's really awkward. So what are we going to say here? X to the fourth power, or X to the power of 4. Okay. Pretty simple? Okay. So, how to deal with exponents. Now, did any of you guys go on family vacations this summer? All right. Did you guys go on family vacations like with your relatives? Every other summer, I go on a family vacation, and we go up to upstate New York to the Adirondacks. And it's a national park, and we meet together with all my wife's family and all of their children. Now, one of my wife's siblings is named Sally. She's married to Bart. And Sally and Bart they enjoy eating. And so when you're on a family reunion, we all stay at a lake house. And one bedroom is like for one family. We all, how you cram in on the floors and on the couches and sleeping bags. And so we're all kind of there. It's kind of tight quarters and confined, space. But it's kind of a fun lake house family vacation. And we spend some time on the lake and hang out by the beach and things like that. My Aunt Sally and Bart like to eat. And they like to eat lots of stuff. And so at the lake house sometimes, when you're eating and in close proximity, you learn things about other people that you don't necessarily want to know or experience. You see where I'm going here? Anyway, so one night we had a classic grill out, we had hamburgers and hot dogs and tater tots and baked beans and coleslaw, all very typical, kind of a cookout meal. Aunt Sally really enjoys beans. So we're playing cards later that night, and one of the little cousins, Carell, she says all of a sudden, "Woo! we all realize that something happened, and we're trying to tell her to play low and not, make a big deal of it. And then again, like a couple minutes later, this massive odor occurs in the room where we're playing cards. And of course, she once again, just goes like, "What in the world?" And so finally we kind of pull her aside and say, "Carell, you need to please, make sure you don't worry about Aunt Sally, and she has some gastrointestinal issues." And of course Carell says, "What's that mean?" She goes, "She passes gas and has a hard time with that." And Carell's like, "But it smells." Like, she can't help it. So we try to teach little Carell that it's very important to, please excuse dear Aunt Sally about that, kind of that issue. So, with regards to that, we'd like to talk about our next idea. And it just so happens that we have this "please excuse my dear Aunt Sally" in our next little illustration. Now, does anyone know maybe what these letters also stand for? Christian, what's the P stand for?
It's plus. No, never mind.
By the way, cover up the bottom part with your hand. Don't look. What does the P stand for? Anybody have an idea? Emily, in back. Parentheses. What about the E? Other Emily. Exponents. What about the M and the D? Ethan.
Multiply and divide.
Multiply and divide. And what about the A and the S? Add and subtract. Thank you, Andrew. Now, what do you notice about how I wrote the word PEMDAS? How did I write it? Down. I wrote it vertically. How have you always written it maybe before this? Horizontally. Here's why we write it down. First, it gives us an easy way to tag words out to the side. But notice, what is it about the MD and the AS? What are they? They're together. Because that has to do with how we do our order of operations. When you're doing multiplying and dividing, you do them together at the same time, but notice, what does it say down here? From left to right. Okay, so let me give you a classic illustration. If we have 3 plus 4 times 2, which one comes first? Do we do the plus or the times first? We do that times first. So we say 4 times 2, which is 8, and then we go back and add the 3 to get our answer of 11. The danger is everyone just does math from left to right, and they say 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. Survey says, Okay, it doesn't work. The way that God has created our universe is very orderly. And we have had the ability over many, many years to discover some of his laws through science and through math. And in structuring this, we're trying to structure order. So Andrew does it the same way as Jocelyn, who does it the same way as Jimmy, who does it the same way as Allison. We want to have that order in our lives. Otherwise, it gets a little bit chaotic. So let's take a look at this problem down here. Let's see, what do you think comes first? Well, what I do is this. Are there any parentheses? Okay, so we can check off parentheses. First line. Are there any exponents? So on the next line, the only thing I'm going to do is the exponents. Nothing else is going to change. 32 plus, what is 6 squared? Talk to me. 36. I'm not doing anything else but the exponents on that first line. Now on the next line, Jade, I'm going to do all my multiplying and dividing. Is there any multiplying or dividing? Yes. What is it?
14.
Okay, so nothing else is going to change. 32 plus 36 minus 28. All I did there was my multiplying and dividing. Notice I did not do adding and subtracting. I'm leaving that for my last line. And now we're going to add or subtract in order from what direction? Left to right. Allison, help me here in your head if you can, please. What's 32 plus 36?
68.
Thank you, that's 68. And someone else, what is 68 minus 28?
40.
40. So I would say our correct answer is 40. So it's important that we move from left to right. Now notice, what direction did I do my work? How did I work? I worked down. I didn't work across. Are you seeing the equal signs here? There's
no equal signs because this is not an equation. This is a what? Starts with an E. It's an expression. An expression has no equal signs. All right, flipper. Let's look. So let's just think how many lines we're going to have on each one. If you have parentheses, that's line 1. Exponent is line 2. Multiply and divide is on line 3. Add and subtract is on line 4. So you might have 4 lines of work. Work with your partner. Work on number 5. Circle your answer when you're done. Work down. Be nice and neat.
So just do, you get that 5, and then that'd be 18. And this would be 1.
Remember, 1 line for each order of operation.
And then
1
just do the
line.
next one. 100, and then it would be 9, and then 1.
Your desk thinks you have the right answer. Raise your hand.
I know who do that for like.
Think we got it?
Yeah, I think we're all supposed to be.
17. She's cool. I'll tell you why in a second.
You're supposed to raise your hand when we're done. You're supposed to raise your hand.
Many cool people in here. Man. All right, I need to teach you guys how to be cool math students. All right, we got 3 cool math students. If you're going to be a cool math student, you got to use cool math font. Did you know there's a cool math font? It's like a drop down. I just haven't copyrighted it yet and published it yet, so you can only do it with your pens. So, what was 2 squared? So, whoops, I forgot to do my 18 there. Am I having a problem here? 4 divided by 4 is, yes, thank you, it's 1. Okay, thank you. I don't do numbers well. So my answer is 17. So if you're a cool math student, you're going to cross your 7. But if you want to be cool, you don't have to. But take a chance, try it, cross your 7. It's kind of like a renegade thing. Just take a chance. All right, let's move on to the next one. How many got 17? Well done, well done. All right, what's my first step? Talk to me. Mr. Wyatt. Which is? Excellent. I'm not doing anything else on this line. Just my exponents. Don't get ahead of yourself. I will tell you, an easy problem gets really hard when you get ahead of yourself and you do other things in the wrong order. All right? Emily, sitting next to Wyatt. What's next? 90 divided by 10 is 9. So 109 is the number that is written. Who can tell me what that number is in words? Come on.
109.
Thank you. Say it again, Jake.
109.
109. What word did she not have? She didn't have the word "and." One of the first students I've ever had in a class where the first time we said it, it's come out right. Well done.
Thanks. My teacher got it.
She got on you for that one?
Yeah, she got
Well,
on
good.
for that.
So we don't get out of the habit of saying 109. Okay? 109. What does the "and" represent? The decimal. So, 109. All right, moving down. Our next instructions say evaluate. There used to be this really weird commercial on TV called Glad, and they promoted air fresheners. And they had that air fresheners that they would plug into the wall. And then you'd see these little butterflies that would fly out, fictitiously. And that was supposed to be the fresh scent. And then they had this really cute thing. It would be like, plug it in, with this really cute, words. And it was really dorky. But it just helps me remember when I am evaluating, I'm taking my numbers and I'm plugging them in. Now everyone take your arms. Stretch them out this way. This is a kinesthetic thing. Now go like this. Palms in. You're stretching your arms, you're stretching. Now take your hands and go like this. Congratulations, you did some awesome parentheses.
So, whenever we evaluate, we plug in using parentheses. So if you replace a variable, what do? Everybody? Come on. Plug it in using parentheses. And by the way, you also just stretched your lungs out, which provides you more oxygen. So I replaced the C, I replaced the D, and I wrote the rest. Nothing else changed. Now what am I going to stick in that first parentheses? What is the value of C? 2. What's the value of D? Did the problem just become exactly like the top section? Now it's just simplified. That step was the evaluate. Now from here on out it's just simplify. All right, crunch it out with your partner. Go. If you need help, look up occasionally, and I will try to help you. Get stuck, look up. All right, let's get your eyes. Notice what was my only thing on my first line. The only thing I did. Just the exponent. Then here's all my multiplication. And then notice from line 3 to line 4, I did the left to right. I did the 17 and then added them, got to get 33. Okay? So, here we go, number 8. First step, replace the C with the parentheses, replace the D with the parentheses. Just like that. Literally, leave them empty. Now, plug it in. What goes in for C? D. Now here's where you got to be careful. The careless student might be tempted to say 10 squared is 100. Right? Because multiplying and dividing, we go in order from left to right. What did they forget?
Exponent comes first.
Yeah, they forgot the exponent comes first. So, Christian, what should we be doing here?
5 to the second power.
5 to the second power, which is 25. So that's our first line. Great catch, Christian. So 2 times 25 plus 10. Obviously 2 times 25 is 50. 50 plus 10 is 60. Notice, did I still have an equal sign on my paper? What am I doing? Kind of, this is just like the next column of work. That's all. No equal signs. We'll get the equal signs later when we do equations. That's in the second chapter. All right, last one, but not least. 40 minus parentheses squared plus parentheses, parentheses, dot 3. What's my D again? 5. My C, once again, is 2. My D is 5. Ladies, help me out on this one. What's my first step? Okay, Jocelyn, go ahead. Do my exponent. 25. So I replace the parentheses squared with 25. Why did it stay negative? Why is this not positive 25? Does anyone answer that, maybe? Emily? Yeah, the negative is outside that square. The negative is not being squared. What's being squared? The parentheses. And what's in the parentheses? 5. Is the negative in the parentheses? No. Now what if the negative was in the parentheses? What's a negative times a negative? A positive. Then it changes. But here it doesn't. That's why it's really important to pay attention to your signs and go slow. Alright, moving from there to times 5 times 3. I guess I can do my multiplying and dividing now. 2 times 5 times 3? 30. The second careless error that someone might make on this problem is they might say, oh, I like to add. Because PEMDAS, adding comes before subtracting. So they would say 25 plus 30. And then they'd subtract it. And then they'd crash and burn. Instead, what should they do? Left to right. So what's 40 minus 25? 15. What's 15 plus 30? How much? 45?
Yeah.
So we have 15 plus 30, which is 45. Okay? Now,